Sure, yes, sir. So all of these edges have been sealed in. All the little holes have been sealed in. So now we gotta spray the PVA release film stuff. Cover the whole part, wait 30 minutes, let it dry. It doesn't really matter if it gets on anything else because it's water soluble. Put a little water on a rag and it'll go away. Once this is dry, we go right into the orange tooling gel coat.
That's really orange.
That's this shit. It's crazy. And then you mix it with this.
Is that a hardener?
MEKP, methyl, whatever. I'm gonna not even try to pronounce it. Yeah, essentially hardener.
I was about to say, that looks like it has to harden.
You only mix it like 1.5% per weight, 1.5 to 2.5% per weight.
What does that technically do again?
Orange tooling gel coat is really similar. It's like a plasticky type stuff. So when you get like parts that are FRP, fiberglass reinforced plastics or other polymer, people call it whatever. That's got a outer shell of gel coat, which like on the flares that we just did for Yummy, they were like white, which we primed them dark gray, so whatever. Start with gel coat and then you fiberglass behind them and stuff like that. Okay. This is just like that gel coat, but tooling gel coat is like extra hard. It's like really tough. It doesn't bend as much as like normal gel coat. Like, you know, like a lot of fiberglass pieces you can bend around and they're fine. Yeah. This stuff is a lot harder, but it's made to make a mold, so it doesn't need to bend at all. You want it to stay really stiff. So we'll use that, and then basically you need to What's up, guys? Tim from Street Bandito. We're finally into mold making. So I'm going to take you through this whole process of taking a plug and actually making a mold from it. Xavier's sick today, so it's vlog style. So last time we finished off the rear flares and front flares. These were technically plugs, which is what you make the mold off of. And like I was saying, there's got to be a flange on the inside and outside of the part. This is technically the part here. So you have some room to make the part inside the mold. Especially if you're vacuum bagging or something like that, you need room for your materials to lay out farther, and then the tape and stuff. But we'll get into that in another episode when we actually go on we'll explain the different steps to making carbon fiber parts and the different ways, different styles of making parts as well. But for now, we're just focusing on making the molds. First step, obviously, is we're going to clean these off. They're a little dusty. Wipe them down. We're not going to use wax and grease remover like we did when we were priming these pieces, because we're actually about to lay 3 coats of a bunch of wax and a whole bunch of other stuff to keep the actual mold we're about to build from sticking to this part. Because if it sticks to this part, you're going to have a bad time. But first, what's in the box?
What's in the box? What's in the f***ing box?
Okay guys, so a couple episodes ago, we went to Ohio to visit the CEO and a couple of the people in Fiberglass, the company that we use for all the composite stuff we've done so far on the 240. And we have some really exciting stuff we talked about for future projects possibly, and products for you guys, which I'm super excited about. But in the meantime, the CEO sent us home with all the stuff we're gonna need to make some really nice quality molds for these front and rear flares and the front lip for the 240Z. No strings attached. She's not sponsoring this video or anything like that. She literally just is interested in people building stuff out of composites. She's done it her whole life, and she actually cares about you people. So I'm really excited about the product that we can hopefully offer you guys soon, but we'll hear about that in the next couple weeks. Big companies, it takes them a while to like put a new product on the shelf, especially one that we're working out together. But in the meantime, I'm gonna go over all of these things, all the products you'll need to make your own molds. All right, so step one, you guys have already seen. We already blew off the parts, but we're going to wax on and off the particle paste 3 times on that guy and that guy. That's my cousin Matt. Hey guys. He's helping me today. All right, well, we're gonna go into time lapse because it's gonna take a while. All right, so we've waxed these guys with 3 coats. Wax it on, wax off. Wax on, wax off. And then next step is the PVA release film. This stuff you just kind of spray on. I do like 2 medium coats, and then you let it dry for like 30 minutes. So we'll have some downtime, but I'm gonna go ahead and knock this out real quick. We'll spray it on with a regular spray gun with a 1.3 tip. It'll give like a weird green sheen to it, but it'll be like super shiny. Okay, so I've sprayed 2 coats of the PVA mold release stuff. I'm gonna pump a little bit of heat into the booth just to speed up the drying process, and I'm also going to turn on our fans. You can see it gets a little shiny compared to like where the wax left it, but so we'll let this dry for 30 minutes and then we'll come back and start laying the gel coat. Okay, so we're mixing arch tooling gel coat, and when you mix it, depending on the temperature of the room, you want it to be around 1.5 to 2.5% MEKP hardener. We've already measured out our gel coat. We've done the technical mathematic equations and found out what was it, 16.3. 16.3. You mind grabbing me some gloves from over there, actually? There's like a little gray box, I think. Oh, it's right there, actually. Okay, so now that that's thoroughly mixed, take the little nozzle tip and the lid, press it on there. Ooh, squirt it. A little too much in there. Okay, so this little gun end clips onto the nozzle that sits on top of this cup. And then you just hit this trigger. This spring actually holds it on, but I need to put my mask on and stuff like that. But so we're gonna go hit 2 coats of gel coat on it with 15 minutes in between, and then we'll use the gel coat thickness gauge to actually test how thick the gel coat is. Okay, so I got our booth at 24 degrees Celsius, which is equal to about, what, 76 degrees, I think? Something like that. Whatever, we did the math, ask Google. Which you want it to be between 75 and 77 degrees. See, it's all laid on there. Same with underneath. And what we want to do now is take this. This is basically like a thickness gauge, and you want it to be around 25. So we want it to be in between this 24 and 26. What you can do is like set it down into it. Except my stuff's already hard. Hardening. But what you should ideally do is set this into it. And then it'll show up in between these two things. I actually waited a little too long. Sasha's a little too hot in here. And this is already tacking up. But in between coats, you want your coats to be like maybe like 8 mils thick per coat-ish. And you want to end up between 20 and 25 mils thick. And this is super useful, especially if you use it correctly, but I waited too long. But while we let this stuff tack up, because we need to let it sit a little longer, we get lunch.
Yeah.
All right, so it's been about 45 minutes. This gel coat is like just perfectly tacky, but almost fully dry. So the next stage is to throw some of this very light, like 2-ounce fabric. It can conform to curves, so it'll give us the best, it'll basically lay the flattest to all of these like random curves and stuff like that. Then we're gonna hit it with 2 coats of the matte, like fiberglass matte. It's like the heavier stuff, it's kind of like unidirectional, like lines everywhere. You've seen us, actually no, yeah, you've seen us use this stuff before, but we'll go over that next. And then we gotta do some thicker cloth. It's like 7 ounces, I think, 7.5 ounces, but we'll go over that next.
I hear that you can make your heart beat out of your chest. Do it.
What planet are you on?
Okay, so it is the next day. The mold's all dry. The other one's still in the paint shop, but this is like better than Christmas morning. So what I'm gonna do is I like to cut a perimeter around it first before popping it off, because then you have like a nice clean seal. And then I'll get some of these bad boys and maybe like a rubber mallet and start popping in there, getting it to release. That PVA stuff, the green stuff that we sprayed on before we sprayed the gel coat. It's actually water soluble, so if you have any issues, you always pump a bunch of air in there and maybe spray a little water. It'll release stuff, but we should be good. Let's see how it turns out though. Okay, you can see from the plug, after I sprayed the mold release stuff on it, it had like a green shine to it. And actually, see how this is like kind of like a matte finish? You can see a little bit of like that kind of gloss. This is actually the PVA mold release stuff. And what you can do is just take this, and since it's water soluble, just spray it off with a hose. And then you'll see the actual finish of your mold. And then from there you can wet sand and buff it and make it like absolutely perfect if you want, or just you always just wet sand and buff just the actual part layer, but you want to make sure you have a good seal layer too, so it's always good practice just wet sand and buff the entire thing. Then you get like a really primo mold. But let's go spray it down.